What about this message? Okay.
Good afternoon, trade partners. Welcome to the webinar on Taiwan Tourism Bureau. We would shortly begin in the next 5 minutes. Good afternoon, dear trade partners. I'm Disha from Travel Biz Monitor, and I will be your moderator for today's session. Thank you so much for taking out your valuable time to attend this webinar. Today we have with us Dr. Trust Lin, who's the Director for Taiwan Tourism Bureau in India, and Ms. Reem Coker, who's the India representative for Taiwan Tourism Bureau. Just a quick note, in this webinar, Reem will offer insights into the various offerings in Taiwan through a vivid presentation. But before we start the presentation, I would like to brief you on this webinar software tool. Please note that all attendees are on mute mode. If you have any queries, you can post it by clicking on the Questions tab on your control panel, which has opened on the right-hand side of your screen once you've logged in. Also, there's an option to minimize or maximize the control panel during the webinar by clicking on the orange-colored arrow. We will have a lucky draw after the completion of the webinar, where we will connect with the winners directly via email. Do please stay logged in till the end to be part of the lucky draw pool. Moreover, after the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session where Dr. Lin and Ms. Reem will be addressing all your queries. Over to you, Dr. Trust.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Trust. I'm the director of Taiwan Tourism Bureau for the India market, and I also cover all the way from New Zealand, Australia, Singapore, and the Middle East. But India is, to me, the most potential market. That's why I visited 5 times to India for the past 12 months. And to me, a lot of people always tell me they think about Taiwan, they think about IT. But IT has another definition. That means India and Taiwan. So welcome to Taiwan, and I give the stage to my partner, Reem.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Trust, and good afternoon to all of you who have logged in. Thank you for taking valuable time from your schedules today to make time for Taiwan and to be with us and learn more about this beautiful destination. My name is Reem Khokar. I am the India representative for the Taiwan Tourism Bureau. I'm based in New Delhi. We also have our senior sales manager, Rudin Dias, who's based in Mumbai. And at the end of this presentation, our contact details will be up on the screen, so you are welcome to get in touch with us for any queries. So let us begin now. Welcome to Taiwan. It is time for Taiwan, and the reason we say that is we truly believe that this is a destination whose time has come for the Indian traveler. You have so much to offer, and Indians are becoming more discerning. They are looking for better destinations, new destinations to explore and enjoy. And we truly believe that all of you in the travel fraternity will gain a lot out of understanding what Taiwan has to offer and offering that in turn to your clients. Taiwan is one of the 20 largest economies in the world, and one of its greatest USPs, its unique selling points, is within such a compact destination, a compact island, there's such a diverse experience to be offered, from cities, mountains, beaches, hot springs, volcanoes, your culture, you have modernity, cutting edge transportation and attractions. And all of this can be experienced in such a short amount of time. So you don't need, a long trip necessarily to enjoy all of this, though of course we encourage you to spend as much time as possible in the destination. But even within 4 to 5 days, you can actually get to see so much that Taiwan has to offer. Taiwan culturally has had great influence from various cultures: Polynesians, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Japanese, Chinese. And geographically, you have China to the west, Japan to the northeast, and Philippines to the south. One of the most important things all of us as Indians have to face when traveling is the visa process. And a lot of us make a decision for where we want to travel based on how easy or difficult a visa process is. Taiwan has greatly simplified this visa process and is very welcoming of Indian travelers. And I will explain how it has become more simplified through the various categories of visas that can be applied for. We have a free and instantly available online visa, which is available for anyone, of course, who has a valid passport, and you have your return ticket and accommodation sorted out, and that you have at least one of the following travel documents: a visa or a resident permit for Australia, Canada, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, any of the European Union and Schengen countries, the United Kingdom, or the United States. Now, this doesn't have to be just a valid visa. Even if any of these countries' visas that you have has expired within the last 10 years of your arrival in Taiwan, you are still eligible for this e-visa. This visa is an extremely easy form which you fill in online. And we are, at the end of this presentation, we will also send you these details about where you can log in and for this visa. You don't have to upload any documents. All you have to do is basically give the details of when you're traveling, the airline carrier number, and of course the supporting visa that you are using to, so if you're using your Australian visa, you will use the Australian visa number and upload that into the document, mention that in the document. This is an instant paper authorization certificate that you just print out. You don't have to wait for approval. It is as soon as you fill in the form, check your details, press submit, and a PDF is generated that you can then print out and carry with you. If you make a mistake while filling in the form, do not worry. You can just fill it in again and print it out again. For groups as well, the visa process has been greatly simplified. If your group, whether a leisure group or a MICE or business group, the minimum number being 5 people who have to enter and exit Taiwan together. So you can't be entering or leaving or at different times and dates. As long as you fit this criteria, you can get in touch with us at the Taiwan Tourism Bureau with your group details. You do not need to send in passports. You need to send in the scans, and you need to send in details of the entire group, the itinerary, and your Taiwanese DMC partner. Once we have those details, we will send it to our Singapore office, who will then review the group, and once approved, they will generate an e-code. This e-code can be used by your travel agency to apply for a free online visa for your entire group, regardless of whether they have any of the Australian or Schengen visas that I mentioned earlier. Even if they don't have any of these, if they are part of the approved group, the travel agency can fill in that e-code and get a free visa for your entire group. So this is actually a great saving on visa fees, especially if you have large groups for MICE or leisure going. And don't worry if your clients don't fit into either of these two categories. You also have a regular tourist visa that can be applied through the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center. This is located in New Delhi and Chennai. And there's a list of documents on the TECC website, the regular documents like IT returns, bank statements, no objection certificates from your company if you're taking leave, things like that. All that information is provided. You submit that, and it is for a single entry visa. The normal working processing time is 2 to 5 working days, and the pricing starting at 3,300 rupees for a single entry visa. From India, there's actually great connectivity. We have direct flights from Delhi into Taipei, which is via China Airlines. Currently, they fly 3 times a week, weekly in winter, and 2 times a week in the summer. But there are also easy connections through various Asian carriers like Hong Kong, Cathay Pacific, through Bangkok, Thai Airways, Singapore, through Guangzhou. Hong Kong, possibly Cathay Pacific being one of the more convenient time-wise. It's about 5 hours from any of the Indian destinations into Hong Kong, and then an hour or so layover, after which it's an hour and a half flight to Taipei. This is a map of Taiwan, just to give you an idea of all there is to see and do. May I have the pointer, please? Thank you. Just to give you an idea, Taipei up here is in the north, and this is the capital city. This is where most international visitors will fly in. There's the Songshan Airport and the Taoyuan Airport, both which service, and the Taoyuan Airport is the major international airport here. If you come down to the central part of Taiwan, Taichung, there's also another international airport here, mainly serviced by a lot of regional Asian carriers. And coming down to the south, to Kaohsiung, which is another major city in Taiwan, you have a huge international airport which mirrors the Taipei airport, and a lot of carriers come in through here as well. So you actually have 4 international airports peppered across the island. This pointer off. Best time to travel. We get asked a lot, what are the best times of year? Taiwan is really quite a all the year through destination. There are a few months that, of course, are perhaps less conducive to travel than the rest of the year, which is the months of around June, July, and August, which is it's humid, it's hot. Taiwan is a tropical destination. Lots of, there is a lot of rain and sunshine and humidity, but there are drier seasons and slightly wetter seasons. So summer in Taiwan, when it's June, July, August, and it's slightly more prone to typhoon season, but the rest of the year is a great time to travel. Spring, for example, March to May, temperatures are comfortable 20 to 25 degrees. You also have the cherry and plum blossom during this time, and so it's a comfortable time to visit. The relatively drier season, which starts around November and goes all the way to February, when it's relatively cooler and you can get to experience a lot of the outdoors with less chances of rain. And so this really gives you an idea of when it is a good time to travel to Taiwan. Talking about money, so the new Taiwan dollar is equivalent to approximately 2.3 Indian rupees. Taiwan is a great value Asian holiday destination, more affordable than many other destinations in the area like Japan, Singapore, and Australia, for example. Changing and withdrawing of money is easy at specific places. So we would recommend, for example, when you're exiting the airport to get some money changed over there. All the major hotels also do have currency exchange services, or you can go to a bank. But since shopping is such a huge draw, we do request and encourage you to actually do all of this before you get out into the marketplace. So, do it at a bank or do it at your hotel, or even better at the airport before you exit. Notching up bills of up to $3,000 and above is not too difficult, because Taiwan is a great place to shop, and there is a VAT refund of 5% available for shopping purchases, which you should make your clients aware of, which can be claimed on their exit from the country. Local transportation. Taiwan offers and really has very safe, clean, convenient, cutting-edge domestic transport and modern and safe infrastructure within Taipei, within the other cities, and connecting between other towns. The roads are great. Transportation is very comfortable and it's easy to get around. You even have things like daily or weekly and double day passes to help tourists experience the best of what the cities have to offer. And one of the most notable features are the bullet trains, the high-speed trains. They take you all the way from a destination in the north like Taipei to Kaohsiung in the south in just 96 minutes. For most of us from in many of the cities in India, we spend a lot of time just commuting within the city, and a lot of us can take that much time within just the city to get from one place to the other. So this gives you an idea of how easy it is within a day to actually just go from north of the island to the south of the island and get to see so much. Taiwan is a really full of surprises, and scenic attractions is one of them, and experiencing the island through a lot of the adventure sports is really key. You have beautiful hiking, rock climbing, cycling, rafting, kayaking, surfing and sailing, because you have mountains over there. You have a lot of beaches, you have rivers, lakes, gorges and places to do hiking, and some of the most beautiful scenic cycling routes in the world. You have the CNN Travel, which has named the area around Sun Moon Lake, which is in the center of Taiwan. The cycling routes over there are some of the most beautiful in the world, and CNN has actually labeled them as that. You have professional and amateur cyclists coming in. So if you have specialist groups who are looking to do cycling holidays and things like that, this is a great destination for that. Taiwan is also a great family-friendly destination, and there's a lot for kids and the whole family to enjoy. And the reason I say this is it's not just the attractions that are specific, like amusement parks and theme parks that are there, but even the more educational attractions. Say you're going to a tea plantation or a tea farm. There's lots of DIY or do-it-yourself activities. Kids making tea ice cream at a tea farm, or making their own tea pillows, designing them. So every attraction really has a very family friendly element to it. But if you're talking about the more traditional attractions, you have amusement and theme parks like the Formosa Aboriginal Village in the center of Taiwan at the Sun Moon Lake, which of course is educational in terms of showcasing how the indigenous people, the indigenous tribes of Taiwan have lived over the years, but also is a great theme park with rides and amusement parks. You have the Yelio Ocean Park in the north. You have the Window of China theme park just about an hour out of Taipei, with miniature global landmarks, rides, water parks. The cities are very green. You have a lot of parks and open spaces. So this is really a great, very family-friendly destination, and a lot of festivals and which are geared to children, like the Yilan International Folklore and Folk Game Festival, the Hot Air Balloon Festival, things like this. Romance in Taiwan. I've been talking a lot about the scenic splendor of Taiwan, and it is no surprise that with such dramatic landscapes that Taiwan has served as a great backdrop for many a romantic event in terms of weddings or photo shoots or anniversary celebrations. And it really offers a wealth of options from cosmopolitan cityscapes to mountain forests, countryside, coastal locations. And Taiwan is actually hosting a lot of international weddings from across the world. And we hope to see more of you encouraging your Indian clients to celebrate their honeymoons, to celebrate their destination weddings here. And we're happy to put you in touch with planners and DMCs in Taiwan who can help you make arrangements for these sort of events. Moving on to specific destinations within Taiwan, the capital city, as I mentioned, is Taipei, and it is a great combination. It's the fourth most populous city. It is the financial and cultural and government center. It's known for its street food markets, historical attractions, and it's also a very modern, buzzing, and lively city. The popular attractions at the left of your screen, you can see a tall, iconic building. This used to be the tallest building in the world, the Taipei 101 skyscraper, which dominates the skyline of the city. And visitors can actually go up all the way from the 5th floor, and in a 37-second high-speed elevator, you reach the 89th floor, from where you get panoramic views of the entire city. You can walk up 2 floors to the 91st outdoor observatory deck and get to see that. And you can see this at the bottom left corner of your screens, this globe or orb. This is called the damper. It's also sort of a feature within the building that a lot of visitors come to see. It's one of the largest in the world and actually helps keep the building stable during any typhoons or earthquake sort of situation. So it's one of the safest architectural features in the world. The National Palace Museum, which has a permanent collection of nearly 700,000 pieces of Chinese imperial artifacts and artworks. So for culture buffs and historians who want to find out more about the culture and history of the destination, this is a great attraction within the city. You have picturesque parts of the city like the Tamsui Lovers Bridge. It's a white-colored cable-stayed bridge deriving its name from when it was opened on Valentine's Day in 2003. It's a great place to take in the sunset. You have fishing boats over here. You have a lot of places to dine and get a drink. So it's a nice place within the city. A few additional attractions within Taipei, one of the most notable ones being the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial, which is a beautiful square with the National Concert and Opera Hall flanking the square, and at the far end is the monument called the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial. This is a very famous and landmark attraction within the city. And as you can see, the statue at the top is the statue of the erstwhile president of the Republic of China, Chiang Kai-shek, and people from across the world come and visit the museum, it's a free attraction. And there's also an extremely impressive changing of the guard ceremony that takes place every hour at the top of the hour. So visitors should make their way as it's getting to the top of the hour to come and see this changing of the guard ceremony. Nightlife is very important to a lot of us when we travel and going out, for a party or to a bar. And there's a lot of lively places in Taipei, particularly around the East District, which is the area around the Taipei 101 that I just mentioned, where there are a lot of great nightclubs and bars and a great place to enjoy the nightlife. Moving on to some other cities, just an hour out of Taipei is Taoyuan City. And this is where a lot of the corporate headquarters of various IT companies are located. The international airport is also here. Lots of beautiful scenic sites, excuse me, and cultural parks, caves, pretty scenery. You have the Taoyuan Bridge at the top left of your screens, which is a 330-meter suspension bridge. It's a great visitor attraction. They only allow about 200 people onto the bridge at a time. So you do have to book this in advance, and you get beautiful views of the Dahan River Valley. You also have attractions like the Window of China theme park, which has miniatures of famous local and global landmarks, and lots of amusements in terms of rides and things like that. So it's great for the full family. You have the Dark Sea Bridge, which is a dual board cable suspension bridge where you can get to watch the sunset and commute to the Dark Sea Old Street with its Baroque architecture. As you can see, this is just 1 hour from Taipei. So what I'm also trying to showcase to you is how accessible all these destinations are. So you base yourself in the capital. You can even do day trips or short trips to various places within proximity of the capital city. Moving on to another major city in Taiwan, all the way in the south, is Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung is the third most populous city in Taiwan. It was historically a trading village and now is a massive port city. A lot of the cruise liners come in here. It's home to skyscrapers and a diversity of parks. One of the most notable cityscape features is the Love River, which runs through the city. It is the spine of of Kaohsiung, and you have a lot of attractions around here. You have a riverside park, you have, night markets, there's cafes over here, live bands. So it's a really buzzing, attractive part of the city. You have cultural attractions like the Dragon and Tiger Pagoda, which is a 7-tiered temple located over a man-made lotus lake. And legend has it that if you enter through the dragon's mouth and exit through the tiger's mouth, you will have good luck for the rest of the year. You also have offshore islands located next to Kaohsiung, like Liuqiu. It's a small island located off Kaohsiung. You can take a ferry across, and it's about 30 minutes by car south of Kaohsiung city, and then a short 20-minute ferry ride away. So these make for great, if you're basing yourself in Kaohsiung, you can even do some things like taking a day trip to an offshore island like Liuqiu, doing some, hiring a scooter or doing snorkeling and water sports and different activities over here. And another city is Tainan, the ancient capital on the southwest part of Taiwan. It's about an hour and 45 minutes from Taipei via the high-speed rail. And this is most famous for some of its historical attractions like the Chikan Tower, an 18th century Chinese complex with gardens, carved towers, and a Dutch outpost. This used to be the historical streets, which are a photographer's delight, like Shenong Street. And it's a cultural zone now, pedestrianized, and lots of art galleries and cafes, and just an artistic area to hang out in. You have a Buddhist museum, the Fo Guang Shan Buddha Museum, and which is a great cultural institution over here. And then a famous museum, the Chime Museum, a wide collection of Western art, musical instruments, weaponry, and natural history. And it's known for having one of the largest collections of ancient weapons and sculptures. Taiwan has beautiful, outstanding, areas of natural beauty and national parks. And some of the ones that I'm going to mention over here are some of the most popular for tourists. For example, the Sun Moon Lake, which is in the center of Taiwan. It is the largest body of water in Taiwan, and the area is called Sun Moon Lake is because one side of the lake roughly resembles the sun, the other side the moon, and hence it gets its name. And the Tao tribe, one of the indigenous tribes of Taiwan, live on the banks of the Sun Moon Lake. This area has a lot of beautiful 5-star hot spa, natural hot spa resorts over here. So you can stay in the area. You can get to enjoy a lot of the landscape, boating, cruising. There is the Formosa Aboriginal village, which is a beautiful cable car ride down into the village and getting to experience the cultural part of it as well as the amusement park part of it. Taroko National Park is one of the 9 national parks in Taiwan and is named after the Taroko Gorge, which is the landmark gorge of the park, which was carved by the river. Basically, the rivers cut through and formed these beautiful geological formations. And the spectacular marble gorge of Taroko with beautiful cliffs and waterfalls is the sort of area for people who like hiking and walking and the outdoors. This is another area that is extremely popular. Kenting in the south, the southern part of Taiwan, is Taiwan's oldest and southernmost national park. And it's known for its tropical climate, sunshine, scenic mountains, and beaches. It's got old villages, fishing harbors. So if you're in Kaohsiung, this is the area that you can actually visit and get to see. And another important, and just one of many others, is the Alishan National Scenic Area, a mountain resort and nature reserve, mountain wilderness. There are villages, high altitude tea plantations, and a very notable feature here is the 86-kilometer narrow gauge railway. It's originally constructed for logging, but is now over 100 years old, and it's a vintage train that runs through the park and transports visitors. So you get to see the area on the train, which is another wonderful attraction. Being an island, it is no secret that Taiwan has some really beautiful beaches. And even if you're in Taipei, you're just about 45 minutes from beaches like Fulong Beach. So lots of water sports, lots of activities. There are festivals held on the beach, for example, like every August, there is a massive national sand sculpture festival. So these are easy day trips also from Taipei. From luxurious hot springs to rustic hot springs, you have the area has a lot of hot springs peppered throughout the island, and a lot of people come for wellness breaks to Taiwan and spa treatments. And this is great for couples getaways, honeymoons, and of course for families looking just for relaxation and restoration. Shopping. All of us enjoy to shop when we are abroad, and Taiwan is particularly conducive to shopping, from night markets to specific brands, high street, luxury. There's a little bit of something for everyone. Electronics, of course, is a great draw. And Taipei specifically has a lot of areas for electronic freaks. So you have dedicated malls and streets, for example, the Nova Electronic Mall, Camera Street, Gunghwa Market, which are all dedicated to electronics. So for electronic and gadget freaks, this is a great location with very competitive pricing. I mentioned all sorts of brands. You have, malls and street shopping and things like that. So there's a little bit of something for everybody in terms of shopping. Night markets. Night markets are one of the big attractions of Taiwan. There are about 400 of them spread across the island, and a list of them is mentioned here, are some of the more popular ones. This is a great way to experience some of the local culture, some of the local food. Since it is mainly transactions done in cash in these areas, it's best to go with cash because credit cards and debit cards and things are not accepted at these stalls. So do go with plenty of cash. It's a great place to get, to sample some of the local food. Even if you're vegetarian, there's a lot of vegetarian snacks also available, and also clothes and souvenirs and other things. And it's a great way to spend the evening. These are very safe, they're clean, they're hygienic places, and safe for women travelers, safe for families. So a really great place to spend an evening and soak in the local culture. Festivals. It's a great thing to actually plan travels around some of the festivals. For example, you have the Lantern Festival, which is one of the key festivals in Taiwan, and it's held in different parts of Taiwan every year. And this is part of the Chinese New Year celebrations. People carry paper lanterns, but it's also become very more high tech, and you have a lot of laser lit and very artistic lanterns now. And it's a great time to plan your holidays around Feb and around the Chinese New Year. You have the Sand Sculpture Festival I mentioned. You have the Taiwan International Balloon Festival in June to August. You have balloon rides, concerts, balloon celebrations, summer camp, and there are a list of some other notable festivals. And if you do want to have more information, do please subscribe to our newsletter, because we do keep sending out information on upcoming festivals and events, which could be useful for you to plan your clients' travel. Food is such an integral part of what we experience, and of course a major concern for many of us. And food, of course, is fantastic across Taiwan. And for those who have certain dietary restrictions or preferences, fear not. There's a lot of vegetarian food available and a lot of Indian food available. In all the major cities, there are Indian restaurants, and you get there are even some specifically all vegetarian restaurants. Taiwan has some of the maximum number of vegan restaurants in Asia. So people who don't necessarily want to eat Indian food but want vegetarian food, there are several choices. You're not going to go hungry, from local delicacies, from dim sum and dumplings to stir fries, soups, a lot of international cuisine. There is no dearth of vegetarian food for Indian visitors, and there are also Jain and halal options also. So you have some very specific dietary requirements, those can be catered to as well. Just some pictures of some must try a food and drink in Taiwan. At the top left, these ladies are enjoying some mango shaved ice in Taipei, which is a huge dessert delicacy. You have mango ice cream with shaved ice and tapioca pearls. In the middle is a beautiful bottle of Kavalan single malt whiskey. Indians do love their whiskey, and the Kavalan single malt distillery is outside Taipei, so you can even do a visit to the distillery and, of course, buy some of the great whiskey that is available. This is award-winning whiskey, which comes out of Taiwan, and the bottle here is actually representative of the Taipei 101, one of the iconic attractions of Taiwan. On the top right, the lady here is enjoying some bubble tea, which originated in Taiwan. You do get bubble tea even in India now, but this is the home of bubble tea, which comes in many different flavors and with the tapioca pearls at the bottom. And at the bottom left of your screens is pineapple cake, another very popular dish served over here, dessert, and you can take these back as souvenirs as well. And on the bottom right, you can see a tea serving ceremony and different types of tea, oolong tea being some of the most famous coming out of Taiwan. Just to give you an idea of a sample itinerary, and when we finish this presentation and when you all log out, you will be sent more information by us, including sample itineraries for 3, 4, and 5 days. But just to give you an idea of how much you can actually fit into an 8-day itinerary. So you can arrive at, I'm sorry, could I get the pointer again? Thank you. So you would arrive up here in Taipei at the Taoyuan airport. You could then experience some of what Taipei has to offer, take a Taipei city tour, do the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial, National Palace Museum. Day 3, you drive from Taipei to Sun Moon Lake, this area over here, and the natural hot springs. You take in all the boating in the Formosa Aboriginal village, stay in the area at one of the beautiful hotels over there. Day 4, you would move on to Kaohsiung, Kenting, this whole area over here. You would take in Taitung and the Kenting National Park, which I mentioned to you earlier, and experience some of the beautiful beaches and attractions in this area. Then you could move up, coming along up the east coast to the East Coast National Scenic Area and Taroko Gorge. So this whole area over here, you could take in Taroko National Park and just spend some time over here. And then on day 8, you would come back into Taipei City. So you actually can do almost like a circular route of the entire island in a week. Ajay, sorry, can I just, it's not going to the next slide. Thank you. Moving on to MICE. Taiwan has hosted some great MICE groups from India this year and in the past as well. And it's with its cutting edge technology, great, large conference and exhibition centers, beautiful hotels, all the big brands are there. It's no surprise that Taiwan is perfectly equipped to host MICE events and other business events over here. So the hotels offer great inventory and meeting spaces, a lot of competitive industries. There's a lot of incentive, experiences that can be woven into the itinerary. So plenty of options for team building activities. There's a lot of backing and support from the Taiwan Tourism Bureau and TAITRA, which is a trade and investment wing of the government. So I'll take you through some of those. But before I do that, just to give you an idea of the sort of hotels and capacities, these are just a few to give you an idea. You have, very noticeable and familiar names, the Grand Hyatts, the Shangri-Las, the Meridian, Mandarin Oriental, capacities of hundreds of people that can be accommodated for various dining and event capacities. So Taiwan Tourism Bureau has an incentive program to support groups. Okay. I think for some of you, the slides may have got, have I paused? I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry, I think after a few slides, I might have lost you. Should I go back and present the last couple of slides again? Good. Okay, my apologies. I think I've hit the wrong button while talking, but I will go back for those of you who didn't hear me. I was discussing MICE travel from Taiwan, and the Taiwan Tourism Bureau offers numerous benefits and financial assistance to MICE planners. There's a lot of great conference and exhibition space and hotels to have your events, to have your exhibitions and other things, and also a lot of great experiences that can be woven in and incorporated into the program. There's a lot of backing from the Tourism Board and TITRA, which is the Trade and Investment Wing, which I mentioned earlier. Just to give you an example of the sort of hotels, just a few examples of hotels in Taiwan, for example, the Grand Hyatt, Shangri-La, Mandarin Oriental, Sheraton, Novotel. These are some of their banquet capacities and room capacities. So you can see there are lots of familiar brands and big hotels to really host a range of numbers and events. In terms of incentive programs and support, the Taiwan Tourism Bureau has its own incentive program support. So ranging from groups starting at 50 packs, starting from 2 nights and 3 days and upwards. There's a range of support starting at 20,000 new Taiwan dollars per group. For the 4 days and 3 nights, you can see $400 per traveler. And these, of course, given to the corporate, and the subsidies provided may be used only for expenses related to the planning of the event. So, for welcome banners or sightseeing, cultural performances, rental of activity venues, things like that. Also through TITRA, which is the Trade and Economic Wing of Taiwan, there's also an incentive program that is offered through them. And for MICE planners, the incentive that I just mentioned through Taiwan Tourism Bureau and these incentives through TITRA, you don't have to necessarily choose one or the other. You can actually apply for subsidies through both plans, and it's possible for you to get both or one of them, but it doesn't mean that you can only apply for one. You can apply for both. And TITRA starts from just 20 packs. And, it's starting with assistance with site inspection arrangements to financial subsidies of $10,000 and above, depending on the numbers that are coming in. And of course, things like welcome kit gifts, welcome letters, welcome banners, there's souvenirs that are provided, 25 per group, 50 per group, 75 per group, depending on the numbers and the duration of the stay. These are just some examples of the welcome gift options that one can choose from, postcards and suitcase belts and things, and VIP souvenir options, which are things like passport wallets or USB sticks or coasters and little gifts like that. So there is this sort of support available. And to get more details of how to apply and how to do this, we have our senior sales manager who is based in Mumbai. His name is Rudin Dias. And you can get in touch with Rudin for more information on the MICE program, or myself, of course, on the guidance that we can provide to all of you on selling Taiwan for MICE or for leisure, and just any information you really need. Thank you so much for your patient listening. We do hope you will keep logged in, please, because we will be having a lucky draw, which will be done on completion of the webinar, but we'll be contacting the winners via email. So do stay logged in, and we hope to answer your questions after this. I'll just hand over to the moderator, Disha, right now.
That ends an insightful presentation from Reem on Taiwan and its varied offerings. I'm sure you've all gained valuable information from the webinar. Now, we are moving into the question and answer session where Ms. Reem and Dr. Trust will answer all your queries. Please type in your questions by clicking on the question tab on the control panel at the right-hand side of your screen.
Okay. So I think we have a question. What is the best time to visit Taipei? This is from Rupesh Sangvi. Hi, Rupesh. Thank you for participating. And Dr. Trust, would you like to answer that? Okay, fine. I will answer that. I mentioned that, yes, it is There is rain and tropical climate in Taiwan, but the best time to probably visit are during the drier months, which is October to February is a good time to visit, and it's cooler, the climate. March to May is also a lovely time to visit. It's a little warmer and there's some light rain, but it is also the cherry and plum blossom time, so it's very scenic. And probably June, July, August is when there's the heaviest rains and possible typhoon time. So that is probably the only time that we would suggest is a little more avoidable. The rest of the time is these months. Okay. We have a question from Rinku Savla. Thanks, Rinku, for your question. The question is, for the first time traveler for FIT, what is the visa process? So Rinku, I will guide you on this regarding, it really depends on the status of the traveler, whether they have traveled to a few certain places which are approved for the e-visa. So as I had mentioned a little earlier, the e-visa, which is an instant visa, is available to those travelers who have a Schengen, US, UK, Australian, Canadian, Japanese, Korean, or New Zealand visa. Even if this visa is an expired visa, as long as it has expired in the last 10 years of your arrival in Taiwan, you are eligible to log in and apply for this e-visa, which is an instant visa. You just print it out and take it with you. This is for 14 days of travel within Taiwan. If you are planning to travel for longer, or if you are not eligible for this visa because you don't have any of these visas, then there's the Taipei Economic and Cultural Centers in Delhi and in Chennai through which you can apply. We have another question from Rupesh Sangvi. Hi Rupesh, you've asked, can you please repeat the visa fees? For the e-visa, which I was talking about, you know, if you have the US, UK, Schengen, any of those visas and you're applying, it is free. There is no charge to it. For the group visa, where I mentioned if you get approval from TTB and you get an e-code through which your travel agency can apply for your group, that too, if approved, is free for the entire group. The only paid visas are if you apply through TECC, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Centers, and those visas are only for those who may not fit into either of these categories. So if you want to apply through TECC, the charges are, for a single entry visa, it starts at 3,300 rupees, which is 2 to 5 working days. They also have an express service within 1 working day, which is for 4,950 rupees. Another question from Rupesh. How do we ask for the 5% VAT refund? Is it at a certain place or only at the airport, the VAT refund?
Hi Rupesh. It sounds like you are a smart shopper, so no to go shopping in Taiwan. Actually, there are so many places that you can get instant tax refund at like big shopping mall or some certain shops. You can do that, or you just collect your invoice and all the article or the goodies you buy in Taiwan, and you can do the tax refund at the airport.
Thank you, Dr. Trust, for answering that. The next question is from Shabir Khan. Hello, Shabir. Thank you for participating. Does Taiwan have any zipline adventure? Shabir, yes, Dr. Trust, you know this one. Shabir, I might have to come back to you on this. I'm sure there is, because there are various adventure sports available. I will have to check on which specific amusement park or part of Taiwan offers this. If you can drop me an email, actually I will have your email address at the end of this event. I will email you with the specific locations for this activity.
To my personal experience, we do have some team training park. They do have some zip line, but it's for the team building. And in Taiwan, we have a regional tribals, and they also have so-called hunter school. They are training you to be survive in the mountain area with only probably a simple fire or knife that you can survive in the mountain area. So in that area, they also have the coach that will teach you with very similar but traditional ancient way of zipline. As for the other location, I personally didn't try that. Maybe Reem can find you more about it.
So yes, Dr. Truss has told you about some of the indigenous and aboriginal, the ancient mountaineering survival practices that include a zipline activity. But for the more specific, more modern ones for team building activities, allow us to get back to you on email with this information. Next question. Smriti Joshi, hi. All the activity is available at Taipei. Do you mean, is Taipei the only city that you can do sightseeing at? I'm sorry, I don't think the question is completely clear to us. If you'd like to send in a more slightly elaborate on that, we can help answer your question. But if you're saying is all the activity, yes, Taipei is one of the cities, but there are plenty of other destinations to do sightseeing and other activities at. So depending on what you want to do. Dr. Truss, maybe you can take this one. Can we pre-purchase the train tickets for local travel or intercity travel? Any websites for the same? This is from Rekha Ashar.
We do have the online purchasing by the internet website, or they also provide the app that you can download. That's for easier that you can buy the ticket. Or if you reach in Taiwan, then you can also get all the tickets at the convenience store like 7-Eleven or family store. You can get it 24 hours. So 3 ways.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Trust. What languages are spoken in Taiwan? Again from Rekha.
Thank you, Rekha. Maybe we should invite you to participate in our fan trip. Okay, but thanks for all the questions. Our English education is started from the elementary school. So usually the younger kids you met, then they are more fluent in English. However, our official language is Mandarin Chinese and has some local dialogue like Taiwanese and Hakka, and also Aboriginal languages.
Thank you.
But don't worry, for the main transportation and the roadside are all bilingual.
Great, thank you, Dr. Truss. The next question is from Munind Shah. Hello, Munind. Do people understand and communicate in English with tourists? Is it widely accepted? And you've also asked about food as an integral part of any Indian holiday, and hence if you can touch on the food aspect. So Dr. Truss did partially answer this question, Munind, about, yes, the younger generation particularly, because English is taught from elementary. You will find a lot of English speakers among the younger generation, and Mandarin Chinese, of course, is widely spoken across the island. Food is an integral part, yes, absolutely. And there are a lot of Indian restaurants, not just in Taipei, but in all the major cities. And so there's a lot of vegetarian food available, both Indian and non-Indian. There are also some Jain and halal options. And there's also a lot of non-Indian vegetarian food available for those who are interested in that.
Taiwan is also called the foodie paradise. A lot of international media, they love Taiwan is because they travel in Taiwan by their tongue. So they try all kinds of food in Taiwan, and especially currently we have lots of Michelin star restaurants. That's something you cannot miss in Taipei.
Thank you. From Manan Shah, we have the question, please do give local DMC details. Yes, Manan, we will be sharing that as a follow-up to this webinar. You will all be getting details of some suggested, contact details of some suggested DMCs. What is the entry fee for the Taipei 101, and is it open on all days? From Rupesh Sangvi. Hi again, Rupesh. Rupesh, I'll have to check on the exact entry fee for the Taipei 101. Allow us to get back to you on that. Kapil Rangras. Hi, can one do the Sun Moon Lake and Taroko National Park as a day trip from Taipei? Yes, the Sun Moon Lake can be done as a day trip from Taipei. It's about 2 hours by coach. Personally, the recommendation would be to actually stay at Sun Moon Lake because there are a lot of lovely hotels in the area. But and also because the Sun Moon Lake itself and then the Aboriginal village, which is also in the area, is actually can take quite a long while to experience, to experience properly and enjoy. So I would actually recommend that you stay in the Sun Moon Lake area. But if clients are short on time, yes, it can be done as a day trip, as can the Taroko National Park. Yes.
But as Rim just mentioned, the most beautiful timing to enjoy the view of Sun Moon Lake is actually the early morning. My personal experience there is I stay at the La Rue Hotel. It used to be the Chiang Kai-shek's late President Summer Paris, and right now is a 5-star resort. And the general manager, he recommend me to get up at about 4 a.m. Then I take the picture to the lake every like 15 minutes, and you will see the lake is changing the view. It's so peaceful and so beautiful. So if you just want a day trip from Taipei to Sun Moon Lake and come back, it's workable, but it's really
yeah, it's very tight in time,
Yeah.
and you may not be able to really enjoy the experience fully. Is there any casinos in Taiwan? No. Is the answer.
According to our law is against to have gambling. That's why many years ago when there's some casino they want to invest Taiwan and they cannot. Our law only allows the casino to have a offshore isle, but he has to pass the referendum by the people residents that live there. And so far we don't have any casino.
Okay. This person is offline, so we can answer that later. What about day 6 in the sample itinerary? Give me a minute, please, to check. Day 6 on the sample itinerary that we showed earlier was Taitung, the East Coast National Scenic Area, and Taroko Gorge. So that was just a suggestion of what you could do on day 6. We will also be sending you some sample itineraries for shorter, longer durations, and that will be sent to you via email.
And we just checked the Taipei 101 observatory tickets. It's 600 NT, which equivalent about 1,400 rupees.
Yeah, 1,400 rupees to access for the access ticket to the Taipei 101. What will be, this is from Vishwanath Upadhyay, what will be the distance from one place to another place? Well, that really depends which place you're going to, Vishwanath. But say, for example, you're going from Taipei to Taoyuan, it's about an hour away. To Taichung, Taipei to Taichung is about 2.5 hours by road, 2.5 to 3 hours. If you're taking the high-speed bullet train from Taipei to Kaohsiung, it's 96 minutes. But if you drive, it's about
3.5 to 4 hours.
3.5 to 4 hours. So that's north to the south of the island. So within between 3 to 4 hours, you can actually, there are quite a few destinations you could access from one place to the other. Everything is within 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It's around that much. In fact, it is said that you can drive around the entire island without stopping, I suppose, in about 9 hours, but you won't really get to see it properly.
No, 9 hours probably not feasible because we usually, every year we have 900K cycling around the Taiwan. So it's 900 kilo. And for cycling people, it's 9 days because one day 100 kilo. And if you have time to go to Taiwan, I personally recommend you to take our high-speed rail. It's up to 300 kilometers per hour. And it's really fast and beautiful and clean and very good services.
Okay. Do you recommend Sorry, where is the 6th day itinerary from Pramod Kumar? Pramod, we'll share this information again with you. This whole presentation will be sent to you, so you will get to see it again and the information on it. Do you recommend self-drive or travel by public transportation? It really depends on your experience. I mean, what your clients prefer. Public transportation is very easy to use and quick. Self-drive as well. If it's a great way to take in stop and start, and take things at your own pace and not according to the public transportation schedule. From Vipul Shisab, Indian food is available in Taiwan. Yes, we have a lot of Indian restaurants in all the major cities in Taiwan which serve Indian food.
And Indian food is getting more and more popular in Taiwan.
Yes.
So I still remember last time I escorted 2 Bollywood stars to Taiwan, and we go to an Indian restaurant, and they say, "Oh, it really tastes like where I was in India." Then I tell him, of course, it's Indian chef.
Yes. So there is Indian food available, and for MICE groups, there's possibilities to arrange Indian chefs at hotels as well for the group. So DMCs have done that as well. Question from Vipul Shisav again. Are there any budgeted hotels there? Yes. So they're not just, I know the slide showed only 5-star options, but there are several different types of accommodation available, 3, 4, 5-star.
And B&B,
and yes, B&Bs, hostels. There's a range of accommodation to suit the traveler's budget and preference. Please provide a list of DMCs. This is from Vishwambar Pathalam. Yes, we will be sending that to you at the end of the webinar. Hello, as been discussed for MICE, are there hotels with Indian cruise options? From Shailendra Singh. Cruise options.
Actually, for a lot of people, they don't quite understand that Taiwan is actually, according to the CLI Cruise Line International Association, we are the number 2 cruise destination in Asia. And there are lots of cruise lines, they pick Taiwan as their home port. So like Star Cruise or Princess Cruise. And every year we have about 600 protocol. So you can easily have the flight cruise to Taiwan, and then you can starting from Taiwan all the way to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, and etc.
Okay. What is the best to travel between major cities in Taiwan, Anchal? Are you asking about the best time to travel, Anchal? I'm not entirely sure what that means, but if you'd like to retype your question and send it in, we'll answer that. What's the best itinerary you can suggest for MICE? From Manan Shah. Manan, there's really such a variety. You can base yourself out of Taipei and do sightseeing and take your group for team building activities or water sports or things like that as day trips out of Taipei. So you base the group out of Taipei for 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights, and do day trips to a few places and various sightseeing and activity and experiential activities. You can take them to whiskey distilleries, tea plantations, water sports, natural parks, really depending on what they want to do. There are a lot of gala dinner venues and options within Taipei itself. Do we have Indian restaurants and Jain meals available in Taiwan? From Sudhanshu Gupta. Yes, Sudhanshu, as mentioned, we do have Indian restaurants in all the major cities, and there are Jain food options available as well. Shabir has left, but I think does Taiwan have safari and kayaking, etc.? Kayaking, yes. There is a lot of wildlife. Through the presentation, you might have seen the black bear. That's the Formosa black bear, which is Taiwan's, within the logo, and that is one of the unique animal species you find there. So yes, there's wildlife and wildlife seeing options as well, and kayaking and things like that.
Actually, there's a lot of people, they go visit Taiwan for bird watching.
Bird watching.
And I know lots of kids, they love to watch panda. And Taipei Zoo do have panda.
Okay. Okay. Great. So you have some options there. For trains, any trains, we can book online, and how much in advance? This is from Chirag Somaya.
We don't have extra fees for the booking in advance, so just get online or download the app.
Okay.
Or get it at the convenience store.
Okay. Yes. So you have those options. You can book advance online. There's no, it's not like you'll get hugely discounted fare, so it's the same fare as Dr. Trust is saying. How about cruising experiences in Taiwan and the route options? Cruising experiences in Taiwan from Sumail Ahmad.
Like I just mentioned, cruising in Taiwan, we are just surpassed Singapore, and we become Asia's number 2 because every year we have nearly 600 protocol, and lots of cruise lines they choose Taiwan as their mother port. So you can fly to Taiwan and get on the cruise, visit nearly countries, and come back.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Trust. For 4 nights, what itinerary will you recommend, Rekha? Rekha, we'll send you some sample itineraries, but it really depends. You could base yourself for all 4 nights out of Taipei and do some day trips around the area. You could go into Yilan, you can go into Miaoli, which is the mountain area. You can do a day trip to the Taroko Gorge. You can do all of that, or you can even do 2 nights in Taipei, do the sightseeing, and then spend a night in Taichung or the Sun Moon Lake area, see Sun Moon Lake in that area, and then go for another night into Kaohsiung and fly out of Kaohsiung. So you get to sightsee over there. So 4 nights, 5 days. Those are just some ideas that you could do. We've answered the question about MICE groups requiring Indian meals. Yes, that is possible. And there's a possibility to even have Indian chefs help out at the hotel for the MICE group.
Recently, we had lots of big group from Tata Steel or Asus or Hyundai. They all go to Taiwan and they asking for the same. They want Indian chef.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
They're happy.
Yes, yes, they're very happy with the food. That's correct. From Kiran Choksi, hi Kiran. Is it possible to get this presentation? Yes, you will be sent this presentation by the webinar organizers at the end. Will you provide us the list of Indian restaurants? Vinod, yes, we can compile a list of Indian restaurants and have that sent across to you. Is the transfers private or self-drive? From Jibin Varghese, which is better and safe. Taiwan is a very safe destination, whether you're planning to self-drive or to have an organized chauffeur-driven, especially for women as well. It's women, families, it's safe. So whichever option you choose, don't worry about safety and security. What will be the approximate cost for ballooning? We will have to get back to you on that. That really depends, the approximate cost of hot air ballooning.
Oh. Taiwan is very famous for our hot balloon festival, usually in July to August, about 30 to 40 days. And there's 2 ways to get on the hot balloon. The first one is you get on the hot balloon and they fly away and they landing. That will cost you around 20,000 rupees. It's very expensive. However, if you just want to experience, you get on the hot balloon and it going up and going down. They do have the wild hot balloon. They just let you get on the hot balloon and going down and immediately going back. So that's a lot cheaper. It's only about 1,200 rupees.
Okay. So that gives you some idea, Vidya, about the ballooning costs. Are 8 days enough for the itinerary suggested? Thanks, Purvi, for that question. Well, actually, ideally, you can spend as much time doing all of this. This is possible within 8 days. Of course, everything will be done. It has to be done in a very scheduled and very. It can be done, but I think you can spread that out over 10 days also. But it is possible in 8 days to do the itinerary we suggested. Absolutely.
8 days is almost the most popular itinerary for Taiwan. Lots of US visitors, they usually visiting Taiwan for an 8-day tour. And after that, they probably stay a couple of days longer by themselves.
Okay. Best mode of travel to travel between major cities in Taiwan. The trains are great. You have, of course, road, you can do self-drives, or you can get higher cars.
High-speed rail.
Yeah, and the high-speed rail, of course, is something we endorse majorly. Average time for visa process for Indian passports. Sankalp, once a passport is accepted at the Taipei Economic and Cultural Center, it is about 2 to 5 working days for the visa to be processed. Is the usual time taken. If we have a group for senior citizens, what is the minimum days itinerary can be planned, Rinku? Rinku, I guess, it can start from four days and upwards, because you want to be able to give them enough time without tiring them out too much. So, to spread out their travel. If you want to make it comfortable for them, you can even base them 2 nights Taipei, get to see Taipei, and then move them on to another base like Taichung or Kaohsiung and take them around those areas. I would say 4 nights minimum. Where are the hot springs located? Can you suggest best wellness locations in the country? From Kapil Rangras.
Taiwan is world famous for hot spring. From the north to the south to offshore island, we all have different kind of hot spring. So if you stay at Taipei area, the Yangmingshan hot spring, and to the east, Yilan hot spring, and all the way to south, we have different kind of hot spring. But I would suggest 2 different kind of hot spring that you can probably only experience in Taiwan. One is in Tainan. They got mud hot spring, muddy hot spring. So if you have the mud spring, it will feel like you go to the Dead Sea and get some mud on your face. That's the muddy hot spring. And the other one is on the offshore island called Green Island. It's about 50 minutes by the boat from Taitung. And then they got oceanside hot spring. So it's salty water. And it opened very early to past the midnight. So you can go there, have the early morning hot spring, and while watching the sunrise. After dinner, you go there to have a late night hot spring to watch the stars. It's very romantic.
Sounds very nice. Okay. Moving on. From Lakshman Rao, which category of guest can we cater to? Well, Taiwan really has options for all sorts of categories. Whether we mentioned earlier, you have B&Bs and hostels and 3, 4, 5-star hotels. You have honeymooners coming here. You have business travelers. You have adventure sports enthusiasts. So it's really quite versatile in its offerings. So, how much money does a couple need to carry during a visit to Taiwan on a pleasure trip? From Shalina.
If you pay the hotel in advance, then it's really hard to say. It's really up to your wife.
And how much shopping you plan to do. Taiwan is actually a very affordable destination. It really, you can, for example, I have, had meals starting at, 500 rupees per head, or even cheaper sometimes, to, beautiful luxury restaurants, which, sky's the limit really. Shopping, with street shopping can start with beautiful, clothes and things starting at 250 rupees an item, to beyond electronics and things, of course, a little more expensive. But it really depends on what you're going to see and do and spend on. But food and accommodation and general shopping is is very affordable. How many total number of days should one plan if there's a high-end family group? Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, we had to pause for a minute because Dr. Trust had to leave, but I'm still here to answer some more questions. Let's take a few more. I mentioned how many number of days one should plan for Taiwan if there's a high-end family group. I would say four nights minimum to really be able to enjoy the destination. I mean, you can spend 4 nights in Taipei alone and then move on to other destinations, but 4 nights minimum for any type of group, any type of leisure group, really. The quality of four-star hotels are similar to that in Hong Kong? Yes, I would say so, Munind, yes. Taipei 101 skyscraper, is it chargeable? Yes, we just mentioned it is about 1,400 rupees for the attraction ticket. Are there any, Shilpa Popat, hi, any restrictions or a no-no for tourists to follow any traditions or to avoid any religious sentiments like some Asian countries? So Shilpa, Taiwan is a very open and inclusive community and culture. Even in the temples and things, there are no restrictions on dress, or you can go in and clients can go in shorts and t-shirts and things. Of course, it's nice to, of course, be quiet and respectful while the prayers and things are on, but they're very used to tourists. For example, like the Lungshan Temple is one of the largest temples in Taipei. They're very used to, during their prayer ceremonies and things, for tourists to be trooping around and taking pictures and things like that. Of course, would encourage for everyone to be respectful and be quiet and as unintrusive, even if you're visiting one of these places. But yes, very inclusive and a very tolerant culture. No, there's no restriction. Sorry, Sumit, your question was, there's the five-star hotels mandatory in the package. No, these are not packages, Sumit. These are just suggestions. There are a lot of hotels, as we mentioned, and you're welcome to use any of them for your groups. Munin Shah, do people understand and communicate in English with tourists? Yes, as we mentioned, the younger generation especially, you'll find a lot of shopkeepers, people in banks and tour guides and things who speak English, and people on the streets, especially the younger generation, do speak English. Because they have to learn it from elementary school. The older generation, you will find it a little more difficult in terms of everyone speaks more Mandarin than English. But a lot of English is spoken in Taipei specifically and in some of the other cities as well. How do we arrange sightseeing for FIT clients? Sonali Abhyankar, we will put you in touch with some DMCs through which you can definitely discuss your options for your clients. Karipya Bharti, any UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Taiwan? To be honest, to my knowledge, I'm not entirely sure. Please allow me to come back to you with an answer on this question. To Deepa Veti, you mentioned that guests to exchange money before they exit the airport. Usually most countries mention to do so in the city. Why is it so? Please clarify. So the reason I say so, Deepa, I've taken two groups across, fam groups across. Currently, the exchange options are at the airport or at the banks or only in major hotels. So if you don't do it at the airport and you decide to go out shopping and you haven't got your money exchanges yet, once you're out in the city, it's only the banks that you can actually exchange at. They're not money exchange. It's not like Hong Kong where you have tons of money exchange options on the streets as you're shopping. So it's only banks, and then those are dependent on timings and things like that. And if the bank is open. So that's why it was recommended to either do it at the airport or at your hotel, and not all hotels, depending on how major or big the hotel is, not all hotels, or the big 5-star hotels and 4-star hotels will of course do it. But in some cities or some destinations that might not be possible, which is why it was mentioned at the airport. Can you send a list of Indian restaurants? Yes, we will send that to you. How cold does it get during winters in Taiwan? Actually, very mild winters, Priyam. This is, in fact, let me just consult my notes here, but rarely exceeds around, I think, and that too only in the mountainous regions, it'll be about 12 degrees or so, like 12 degrees centigrade. So no, it's usually between 20 degrees and upwards in Taiwan. Is it possible to send cycling routes as we do cycling tours in Europe? And what is the app costs for 6-night cycling tour? From Amit Shah. I think, Amit, I will have to get back to you with the cycling routes. We'll get some of this information across to you. Around the Sun Moon Lake in Taichung, there are a lot of cycling routes in that area. There's city cycling routes. There are routes around the eastern coast of the island through the national park. So all of these areas have cycling routes. And yes, we can send that to you. Are there special incentives for wedding groups? These incentives are mainly for MICE and business groups, but let us check back with TITRA if some of these incentives are available for wedding groups also. We're going to stop in about 2 minutes with the questions because we do need to conclude this webinar. But let me take one or two more, and the rest do please get in touch on email, and we'll be sending you a lot of information. You have the contact details for Rudin Dias and myself, and this presentation will be sent to you. We apologize if we can't answer every single question during this session. Due to the the paucity of time, but we will do our best to answer them over email on the phone. The e-visa, is it single entry or multiple entry? This is a single entry visa for 14 days. Language spoken, can we use English or a translator? As mentioned, English, especially with the younger community, the younger generation, is widely spoken because they learn it from elementary school. But yes, it's usually for a lot of places you might need a tour guide or an English speaking guide to help you with that, with the sightseeing. Yes, we will send through some cycling routes. Some of you have asked for that. Do hotels allow liquor from duty free? Hope there are no corkage charges to be paid for serving to our guests during the gala dinner. Deepa Veti, thank you for that question. We recently had a group who did go in. They did take their own liquor from the duty free. We had to inform the hotel of just the list of the liquor. So various hotels do allow that. And they might be different rules at various hotels that I will have to check and get back to you on. But they did not charge the corkage fees for the recent group that was hosted. But for that a specific question like that, I'll have to get back to you. Is INR accepted in Taiwan? Amit Naseri, I'm sorry, no, it's not. You'll have to use new Taiwan dollars, which you can get exchanged and use these, or credited debit cards, of course. Rupali Chachar from Leisure Holidays. The incentive program, as mentioned, it depends on the duration of the holiday. And also just to interrupt and say that this is the last question we'll be taking today. The rest we will answer on email and the telephone. You can call us. Can you please elaborate on the incentive program by the Taiwan government? As mentioned, through TITRA, which is a trade and investment wing, and also through Taiwan Tourism Bureau, there are two different incentives. So depending on you will receive this presentation. So those, you can see the slabs starting from 20 people and onwards. There are certain incentives and certain subsidies offered, from welcome kit, site inspection, to certain subsidies that are offered, which can be used towards the planning of the event. That information is on those particular slides. You can actually apply for both the TITRA subsidies and the Taiwan Tourism Bureau ones, and you might get both, or you may get either, but that application can be done for both. There's no issue. And my colleague Rudin Dias, who's the senior sales manager based here in Mumbai, he will be able to help you progress those discussions. Thank you so much for all your questions. I'm sorry we couldn't answer all of them to your satisfaction and answer all the questions, but we'll definitely be in touch, and you can get in touch with us for more information.
A big thank you to all of you who attended this session today, and also to Dr. Trust and Ms. Reem from Taiwan Tourism Bureau who presented this webinar. We are positive that you've learned some interesting facets about this destination, which will help you sell Taiwan as a must visit in your itineraries for all your clients. Also, please do note, we'll be selecting a few lucky draw winners to receive a gift of appreciation for your participation today via email. For any queries, you can get in touch with Ms. Reem Coker or Mr. Rudin Dias through their contact details, which are listed on your screen. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's really encouraging to see so many of you logged in on a Friday evening to attend our seminar. Thank you once again, and we hope this was helpful for all of you.